All right, welcome back in. Just another football show.
The last video.
The last
of the
fan
season.
interview video of the season.
Yeah. We should probably come up with a better
We got
name
all of
for
them,
that.
though. We did them well. I guess we had that one, right?
Yeah.
We did the Rams that one time because it was my fault. There was a time
Things
zone
happen.
mix up. Shane couldn't make it. I take blame for that, but
And then they lost, so
well, we'll talk to Shane next.
let that be a
next,
lesson to you.
preseason.
If you're a
But
fan
we
of a
have-
team, you want to talk to us. It's
We have
good luck.
great fans.
Well, I mean, all but two teams that we've talked to at this point. I'm sorry. So yeah, we're gonna talk Super Bowl. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, and
It's
Luke
getting
has
old
been
hat to be.
Luke has been great this year. Always getting me fired up.
Does
for
get
the
Ryan fired up.
because it's a team that I easily could hate, but Luke
That's
always
how
gets
you know
me fired
Ryan's
up.
a true fan.
Yeah.
Of a team that I can easily hate. That is playing in the Super Bowl that I need to get fired up
Yeah.
to enjoy it.
And then Frenchie was the good luck charm all last year.
Frenchie's old hat at this point, right? This is getting old for him, right?
He
We're talking about my
might have
team
to-
in the Super Bowl.
He's done it more than anyone. He has to have done it more than anyone, just
Yeah.
because all last playoffs, all this playoffs.
Yeah.
Luke is the
seasoned
new
veteran.
young upstart, and
Frenchie was the guest before last. There's 3 years in a row
Yeah.
with him through the playoffs.
Yeah, we definitely talked to him before the Chiefs lost that. Yeah, because otherwise he'd be undefeated, and I refuse to do one without him. But yeah, we're gonna talk to Frenchie. We're gonna talk to Luke. Our preview will be coming at you on Friday, where we'll talk the game out. We will break it all down, give you our picks, and then we're gonna run. I'm gonna run down. Ryan, I don't know if you have any.
I have a couple that
I
that were-
signed Ryan to do it. I didn't ask him until just now if he did it or not. We're gonna run down a list of prop bets. For the most part, all ones that you can actually bet, depending upon your location.
Yeah.
And they're the ones I would recommend. So we'll do that too. So let's get Frenchie on the line. Talk Chiefs. Talk defending champions. Then we'll let Luke have the rebuttal. Does that sound fair to everybody?
Sounds fair.
All right. Let's get Frenchie on the blower, huh, Jam?
Yeah.
First time all year.
All right. So now the second year in a row. Talking Super Bowl with Frenchie. Frenchie, good time to be a Chiefs fan, right?
Is it ever a bad? But it's just a really good time to be a Chiefs fan this year and last year.
Yeah, today, for those of you,
As we record.
as we record, is the anniversary of Casey congratulating me on my team Super Bowl victory 10 minutes too early. I've seen all the social media posts. Frenchie, what does the possibility – first off, before we get to the possibility of even winning this game, what does just getting back here mean for you as a fan? You know, last year it was kind of we've waited this long, 50-some-odd years to hold that trophy. Now we've done it, and now we're back there. What is just returning there, getting back-to-back, the first time a team has done it since – well, a team hasn't won it back-to-back since, like, 03-04 New England.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you as a fan to see Kansas City do this 2 years in a row now?
Well, I think the big thing is it proves that last year wasn't a fluke. I think a lot of people came into this season when watching them this year that they're expected to win every game. If they don't win, it's a mistake and everything's wrong. It's like that puts a lot of pressure on a team, and I think it's a huge sign of relief. Even if for some reason you don't win it, you did make it back, and we're looking at the build now of a potential dynasty with not just Mahomes locked up for the next, a million years, but, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Chris Jones, Frank Clark, all under contract for at least the next 4 years or so, and then potential extension for Tyrann Mathieu this offseason. I think it kind of lays the groundwork now that not just for the players, but for the front office, that they can see, okay, we got to keep this group together as much as possible because this is a very special and talented group.
Yeah, the team has a lot of talent. I've joked about it on the show sometimes when you watch them sort of come out in games and look a little flat for moments and then just turn it on. And even towards the end of the season, I don't want to say limped into the playoffs because they had the first round locked up for several weeks, but offensively didn't look as explosive to sort of wrap things up. And then you get in a situation where you're at in Cleveland where they looked, better late in the game than they did, sort of early, kind of let Cleveland hang around a little bit. Then you get to this game and they just looked dominant against Buffalo. Just there's no other way to describe it.
Yep. Embarrassed Buffalo. Really.
Embarrassed. Defensively, getting the pressure, dialing up them blitz packages that they like to do, getting Josh Allen just completely flustered. Offensively, looked like Kansas City of old, and I don't even say of old, but top-notch Kansas City at its finest, just moving the ball at will up and down the field. How do you keep this team now? Like you said, the expectation is there to win. This is a team that, we joke about it. There might be some truth to it. Even Tony Romo mentions it on the broadcast. They look like they're just bored out there at sometimes, and then they turn it on when they need to. How do you keep this team motivated? How do you keep this team driven to play up to that level of success?
Well, I don't think I think this team knows it takes to win a championship, and that's why I'm just so happy that last week winning by 2 touchdowns, it finally shut everyone the hell up about the one-score games and double or single-digit wins. I don't think people realize that this team was trying to conserve energy. As a Golden State Warriors fan, for that 5-year stretch run, you could see after that 73-9 season that they realized, okay, we got to do what it takes to get to the playoffs, and then we know what we need to do come that time. And we need to try and conserve as much energy as possible. I mean, you saw in that Week 17 an excellent opportunity for them to rest starters, and they took full advantage of that. I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, they look bored out there. I think it's, okay, we know what we need to do. We're winning this game. We're going to try and maybe work on some other stuff because we know what it takes in crunch time to win these games. And here we are 10 weeks later, and they're going to another Super Bowl, and they also have added experience now of winning those close games instead of like the blowouts like they've done in years past.
Yeah, and that kind of philosophy for how to treat the year, do just enough to get where you need to go. We saw that happen in some games as well, where it was, get up and then kind of coast and let it get close.
The previous matchup between these
exactly,
two teams was
that's
kinda
exactly
like that.
where I was going. In that last Tampa Bay game, Kansas City puts up 17 points in the first quarter, 20 points, 20-7 at the half, and then they kind of coast and they let Tampa Bay hang around a little bit back in the matchup in week 12, and they knew when to turn it on, when to turn it off, when to coast, when they were fine. Do you think they're going to be able to kind of still play that through a team that they've already beat, or do you think they have to really kick it up a couple more notches since since Tampa Bay has already seen this show before?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily a will they. I think it's a question. And they will. Now they know this is our last game of the season. I think that also jumped into their head in the Cleveland game and the Buffalo game. Yeah, they only beat Cleveland by 5 points, but it's also because they played most of the second half without the best player in the NFL, and you had a quarterback who had only played one game all season pretty much, in Chad Henne. And now you saw in Buffalo, they're realizing, okay, we got a bye week next week. If we win this game, we got to go all out and really drive this point home and win this game and not allow them to launch any sort of comeback. I think with the mentality knowing that it's win or go home, this team is now playing at peak capacity, and I think we're going to see them come out. I don't think you're going to see Tyreek Hill with a 200-yard first quarter again, because I think that Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles are good enough coaches to, okay, these are the defensive switches we need to make, but I still think Kansas City is going to come out and put on a huge show offensively against that young secondary.
Yeah, Kansas City's going, okay, take Tyreek away. Cool.
Yeah.
We have other options here. Is it? I don't want to say ironic, but I kind of want to say ironic. It's a little humorous in the fact that the thought, even going into last year in that playoff run, was, okay, this team needs to avoid Brady and New England, and then that is their clear-cut path to a Super Bowl, and that's what happened. They didn't have to play Tom in the postseason. They didn't have to play New England. Boom, straight to the Super Bowl. Here we are now. The thought was, okay, Tom's leaving the AFC. Now he can avoid Patrick Mahomes on his path. He can avoid Kansas City on his path to the Super Bowl, and here they are both facing off in the biggest game of the year. Both coming into this at 2-2, by the way, in the previous 4 matches between this team. Brady's looking to avenge that loss from earlier in the year. I believe this was the I'll see you in February game too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Tom kind of gave him that cap at the end of it. We saw what Kansas City was able to do against Buffalo, and I mentioned those blitz packages because that's a lot, and we talked about it a year ago today. That's a lot what we saw this team do late in that game in this last year against the 49ers was dial up the pressure, get home, send the house if you have to, but they were getting home. It's an easy way to rattle Tom Brady, get him off his game, but if you miss, you're exposing yourselves downfield to Tom Brady and a great cast of characters here. How do you script this defense to best sort of cover up what Brady and this receiving core and the great tight end that they have as well, the great couple of tight ends that they have as well? How do you game script against this?
I think at the beginning you've got to, game plan to let, your front 4 maybe bringing in a 5th rusher. You got to kind of game just, it's going to be a chess match. This is going to be a fought out match at the line of scrimmage because Tampa Bay has a much better offensive line than they really get credit for. Ali Marpet in the middle of that line, and obviously our Iowa boy Tristan Wirfs, who's allowed 1 sack all season. That's a pretty gifted offensive line that they're going against. I think Frank the Shark Clark has to come up big. He had a great run last year in the postseason, had a couple big sacks on Jimmy G in the Super Bowl last year, and then kind of came up big with a big sack late in the game against Buffalo 2 weeks ago. It's going to be on guys like him and Chris Jones up front to get some pressure early. And as the game starts to drag on, then we'll see the pressure start to build a little bit. And we'll see guys like Ben Neiman, Anthony Hitchens, maybe even some Tyrann Mathieu and Daniel Sorensen blitzes from the safety position. The one thing that I like, though, is that with that blitzing, these guys the secondary has been tested all year of fighting against good matchups with not much protection on the back end because of those blitzes throughout most of the games in high pressure situations.
Yeah, it was effective, obviously, against Tampa Bay, the previous matchup. Didn't even necessarily have to net sacks. Tom Brady was only sacked 1 time in that previous matchup, but 2 interceptions. You kind of forced him to make some quick decisions, throw the ball away, completed roughly half of his passes. So I think pressure is pressure, and it doesn't necessarily have to end up in sacks, but that is the most effective way to fuck up Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the most fleet of foot back there in the pocket, and I think one of the big things is that it's not just getting pressure from the outside with guys like Frank Clark as well as Tanoka Passion. I think the biggest one is going to come from Chris Jones and Derek Canati in the middle. They have to collapse that pocket because if Brady gets the opportunity to step up, that's when he's at his dangerous. He's not a guy that's going to, you have to contain the edge with a lot of the time. But if he feels that pressure coming from the blind side or on his right side with Tristan Wirfs protecting that side, he gets the ability to step up and he's going to be able to deliver some passes downfield or to the middle to guys like Rob Gronkowski and Cameron Brate.
Yeah. You got to, like you said, you got to bring the pressure in his face. You can't allow him to have that one step up. One thing, if anyone's ever listened to this show before, week in and week out, well, here KC mentioned that the way to beat this Chiefs team is to run the football. Makes sense, keep Patrick Mahomes on the field, but also
part of the recipe.
And that's how, if there's a weakness on this Chiefs defense, it's letting some big run games get away from them.
The idea is to also limit Mahomes' possessions.
You keep him on the field, and then you can run the football up and down on him. We've seen Ronald Jones play very well throughout parts of this season coming in. I still don't know where he's at with those injuries, the hand and the quad. But you've also seen Leonard Fournette come along very nicely late in the season and through the postseason. Again, throwing a defensive-minded question, Yanya, but how do you dial that up? How do you keep those guys, how do you make them ineffective in this ball game? Is it just as simple as getting up and then they have to get away from the run game?
I think that's kind of the thing is, I don't necessarily think it takes any extra special planning for guys like Jones and Fournette. They've had a couple big games throughout the season, but if there's anything we've seen from Leonard Fournette throughout his career, all the way back to his rookie year in 2017 in Jacksonville, he is consistently inconsistent. He'll have a big game and then disappear for 3 weeks, have 2 big games, disappear for another week. And I know this is the biggest stage of his career, and he's going into a potential big free agent market for him as a running back, still decently young at 25 years old, and he needs to prove himself. But I don't know. I don't put a lot of faith in him. And Ronald Jones, yeah, he's had a great season, but it took him 3 years to even put together a halfway good season. So I think they're both threats, but they're not guys that you're going to special game plan when you have to worry about guys like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. And I think they're going to take most of the defensive attention. If those guys start to have big games in the first half, I think you'll see Spagnuolo make some adjustments at halftime and really start to shut that run down, focus more on bringing guys like Anthony Hitchens and Damian Wilson up closer to the line to try and stuff those at the point of attack.
Yeah, that's something that the Chiefs don't get enough credit for is how good Spags is at adjusting at halftime, right? Like everyone wants to talk about Pat Mahomes, and that's obvious, or Patrick Mahomes, and that's obvious, but people don't appreciate Spagnuolo as much as they should. I'm talking about the run game. What's the run game like on your side of the ball, the Kansas City Chiefs, where we saw CEH not really do much against the Bills? It was a big Darrell Williams game. We saw Lev Bell was a healthy scratch. So what?
He was dealing with a knee injury.
Sure. So what do we think the run game is going to be like for Kansas City in this Super Bowl?
I think you might see a little bit more on some first down plays and maybe set up a little bit of some play action pass, because you know that Todd Bowles and that defense is going to be focused in on how do we stop Mahomes in the passing game. And with that front seven that team has, the run game, they can look at it as, again, we don't necessarily need any special planning. We've got arguably the best linebacker pair in the league with Devin White and Levante David, two guys that I think were very much overlooked in Pro Bowl voting this year. You've still got Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea at defensive tackle, and Shaquille Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. They're better pass rushers than run stuffers, but they can still win their battles up at the line of scrimmage, and they're going to be going against two backup tackles. So I think that for the Chiefs, they have to find a way to at least try to establish the run in the first quarter to make the Bucs have to think about it a little bit more. But again, I think it's going to be, maybe a short yardage situation on second down or third down when you can go for it on fourth. But when it's going to be an important play on, inside the red zone or a 4th and 1, that ball is going to be in Patrick Mahomes' hand.
Yeah, so I want to do this. I haven't done this the entire postseason. I thought about this today, and I think it'll work out nicely for talking to just the two fans this week. Frenchie, let's say, hypothetically, end of Sunday night rolls around. Tom Brady is hoisting that Lombardi trophy. Tell me what happened. How do the Chiefs lose this game? What happens to cause the Chiefs to lose this game?
Turnovers. That is the biggest deciding factor right there. We saw it almost do them in last year with Mahomes throwing 2 picks in the Super Bowl. But I think if the Bucs can win the turnover battle, that is going to be realistically the only way they win this football game, because I think matching up offensively, I think the Chiefs can obviously outgun them. And I think at this point in their careers, Mahomes is the much better quarterback. But I think if they turn the ball over late and they give Brady an opportunity, it's still Tom freaking Brady in the playoffs. So you never want to give him a shot at a game-winning drive. But, yeah, I think that it would be a fumble or a tip pass, something that would lead to an interception.
Yeah,
interceptions throughout the year. A couple of them were off bad throws, but quite a few of them were off tip passes or just that insane catch by Xavier Howard in the end zone against the Dolphins.
Really, really was. Anything else you guys want to hit him with?
No, other than if things go your way and you post a video of you outside with champagne again celebrating, just tag us in it.
We'll be out here celebrating.
Make sure you get it on the socials for us.
We'll share it.
I don't know if I'm gonna do champagne this time. Something else planned for a little ode to Len Dawson.
You gonna sit in the locker room
You
smoking a cigarette?
Smoke a cigarette, drinking a beer.
Good stuff.
Pretty much.
All right, Frenchie. We you know how this works. Let's give us a game prediction. Tell us if I'm going to be happy on Sunday night and what the final score is going to be.
I think I'd be lying to myself if I picked the Bucs. So I got to be true to myself. Kansas City's going to walk home birth of a dynasty back-to-back, first time since Brady did it, and he's going to be on the other end of it now. I really think you're going to see this kind of get away from the Bucs in the fourth quarter. I think the Chiefs walk away with a double-digit victory. I'm going to go 35-21.
There we go. Well, I sincerely hope that you're correct. You know that.
Yeah.
All right, man. We appreciate you giving us all the time you've given us here over the postseason. We look forward to talking to you again next season. You want to quick plug some of the stuff you got going on before we let you go? I think you've only done it the one time.
In a couple of weeks if they win, right? We got to get his takes on that.
We will have to talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, man. We appreciate the time. Look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah, you guys have a good day.
Take it easy.
Thanks, Frenchie.
Bye.
All right. Well, we heard from Frenchie, heard from our Chiefs fan. Time to get Luke on the line. Going to talk a little Bucks. He's going to make Ryan feel a little bit better about the $100 he might lose this week. Yeah. Luke,
on the line.
How's it going?
It's going great, man.
It's got to be going right?
I'm in the Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys knew or not.
We heard. I heard rumor.
Yeah.
Turns out it's true. Ryan, you're the one that maybe needs to feel better about this. I don't know.
Ryan does. I literally said as the game was going down, Ryan was looking for the way it ended with the questionable, not even questionable, it was holding, but they finally threw the flag on one. Ryan was upset about it. He didn't want his team getting. The first thing I said is, you need to talk to Luke. Like, Luke will get you back on board for being happy about the fact that your team is in a Super Bowl. Looking back, a week and some change ago, Luke, just a quick, little thought on the NFC Championship game. The way it sort of ended, was there any, worry? Brady throws, 3 interceptions and 7 passes? Was there any thought in your mind that, okay, this is going south? What was your overall feeling watching this game go down?
So it started off really, really well with our squad. I was actually at Buffalo Wild Wings. What I've been doing all season, but mostly all playoff, is my girlfriend and I, we watch the games together, all the Bucs games, all the Cowboys games, all the Washington games, and we always get cauliflower wings from Buffalo Wild Wings because we don't eat chicken.
It's got his own routine.
We've been doing it all year.
And it worked. And
it's snowing outside. It was really bad up in West Virginia where we were at the time. And I'm like, man, the game, it starts at like 6:42 or something like that. So I'm watching the pregame waiting for my food because I'm doing carry out. Going to take it back to our place. And the game starts, and I'm like, oh, gosh, like, I can't believe I'm missing the kickoff. It happens every time. Like, nothing can go right when it needs to go right. And I'm like, I'm missing the kickoff and all this. And so she's calling me on the phone on the way back to her apartment, and she's like, Mike Evans just got 20 yards. And I'm like so excited. I'm in the car. And that was the first third down conversion that I had to watch later since I was listening to her commentate it for me. And then Mike Evans gets the catch to score. That was cool. And we end up going, it's like 7-7. Then Fournette has that super, just crazy run. That was awesome. We went up 14-7. And then Green Bay really hit their stride and moved the ball like crazy. And now it's 14-14. And I'm like, uh-oh, I didn't want to be in a shootout today. But it looks like we're going to just have to score like crazy. And then the defense just came out and was just playing lights out. They were getting pressure on the quarterback. They were stopping Aaron Jones, which I knew was going to happen because it happened the first time. Jordan Whitehead forced 2 fumbles. And and then don't let me forget, Winfield is out. I'm on my couch ordering my food, the Buffalo Wild Wings we were talking about earlier. And I'm looking at the injury report on Twitter, and I'm like, Winfield. I'm like, babe, no, we're so screwed. Like I didn't even know that he got hurt. And I was just like, man, I don't have a good feeling. But then, Whitehead's playing really well at the other safety position. And then he goes down. I'm like, great. it's game over. And actually, we were watching it. We have a Fire Stick or Amazon Fire TV or whatever. So the games are a little bit behind, like a couple plays behind. And then I'm on Twitter, and I'm like talking with a couple of my well, one of them's a Bucks buddy, one of them is a Patriots fan who's turned Bucks fan for the playoff, and he's like OMG, like I can't believe that just happened. And this is like right before this. We had just gone for it on 4th and 3. And like, oh God, like did he get a kick block or something? And then I watch the play, and I'm like, Scotty Miller, like he goes deep to Scotty. I love Scotty. We call me and my girlfriend. She is always like, he's the secret weapon. I'm like, yeah, I know you're right. You know, she's right. So we go up 21-10 at halftime, and at this point, I'm like so close to letting all my Packer friends just have it. But I'm like, nah, we're on the road. It is Aaron Rodgers. You know, he's 1-3 in NFC Championship games, but he's at home. You know, we're down 2 safeties, and then we go up 28-10, and I'm like, man, like I started relaxing a little bit. I took the puppy out to the bathroom for a couple minutes. I was missing plays. I was too confident. And then when they started coming back, the Packers did, I'm like, oh, no. Like, Todd Bowles, like, I've been talking to you guys about it all year. Like, he's going zone on me. And the Packers started moving the ball, and I just started freaking out. But we had a couple of really good red zone stops. And from my count, I haven't heard any sports people, media talk about this. But by my count, Aaron Rodgers was 0-6 targeting Devontae Adams inside the 10. That's off the top of my head. I know it's at least 0-6. It might even be worse than that. But I mean, the bend but not break defense, I was so proud of the boys, how they played. And then Jordan Whitehead played super good. I mean, the pass rush was like, it was so crazy to see how well we were playing on defense, because we did the exact same thing that we did in the first game when we blew them out. And the Packers, like, they looked like they'd never seen what we were going to do before. And that really, really surprised me. And I really thought it was going to get tied late in the game. The Packers were down 8 inside the 5. They had like 3 or 4 chances like around the 5-yard line. And then they kick the field goal. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? Like, what are you thinking? You're going to give the ball back to Brady, and all he's got to do is pick up a couple first downs? And then my boy Kevin King getting cooked all game, holds Tyler Johnson. And I see the jersey pull, and I'm like, where's the flag? And then I see the flag, and I'm like, man, I'm going to the Super Bowl. I can't believe it. It was so awesome.
Yeah, ball game at that point. Really like you taking us on your journey through that whole thing. It's fun to listen to.
It is. I was having like flashbacks to last year.
But the big question I have out of all of that is, what kind of sauce you getting with the cauliflower wings? What are you throwing on those bad boys?
So I get I don't know if you guys have had the cauliflower wings, but I don't know if you guys are like big meat eaters, but we don't like Buffalo Wild Wings chicken wings. They're always really bad. But we get technically they're not wings because we get boneless. But we always get like 1 or 2 bad apple, and then I'm just kind of waiting on the bad apple the whole time. So we get the cauliflower wings, and they're very delicious. But we get them naked, and then we get Parmesan garlic for the dipping sauce.
Okay, yeah. That's
that way we're not getting too saturated per wing.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's a win. Yeah, that's a good win there. That's a great technique. I might have to try that out, because I too, when I go to B-Dubs, my
to call the local
go-to,
make sure they don't have any for me this weekend.
My go-to isn't necessarily wings. I'm always like, they got great sandwiches.
Oh,
I'm looking outside of that. But okay, so we got your game day traditions down. We got your food. You better make sure that you've got plenty of cauliflower wings.
Get that order in early.
Get it in early, so that way you're not getting play-by-play from the girlfriend on the way to the game. You don't want that at all. You don't want to miss the opening kick for sure. But outside that performance, and I mentioned that Brady, he threw some late interceptions. To me, a couple of those felt more like punts.
It's like, yeah, it's
It,
worth a shot.
it was
but,
third.
yeah.
It was like third down. He knew he was going to get hit anyways. Let's just throw it up, see what happens. I've talked about what Kansas City is able to do as far as creating some exotic blitz packages and really sending the house. Is there any worry in your mind if Brady gets hit 2 or 3 times? That's tends to be Tom Brady's downfall historically. I know you guys got an offensive line that's playing very well, but if Kansas City can get home and Brady all of a sudden starts throwing up 2 or 3 picks like he did against Green Bay, how's your thought process? How do you handle all this going into this game?
Yeah, so as far as the Kansas City defense is concerned, I'm not really too concerned about it. But like you said, there can be no mistakes because they will 100% capitalize on the pick or fumbles or whatever if we turn the ball over. I mean, Green Bay, I think they only got 3 or 6 points off of the 3 picks or something like minuscule, like meaningless. And that is not going to work against the Chiefs. And it does scare me because they're not super great on defense. I would say Bucs hands down have a better defense. But the Chiefs, they know Tom Brady is a very stationary target, right? So what I anticipate the Chiefs doing on offense is rolling the pocket to kind of slow down our pass rush, making either Jason Pierre-Paul or Shaq Barrett chase all the way around the field. And we can't do that because Tom Brady is, just a statue in the pocket. And it worries me a little bit. But that's been a worry for me all season. And I think that if we could stop, Washington, I think that the last 3 defenses we've played in the playoffs are better than the Chiefs. So I'm not too worried about us offensively. My biggest concern is stopping Mahomes and those guys, because that is just – it seems like nobody has figured out how to do it, and this is his 3rd year starting. It's like – and no one can figure it out.
Well, it's hard to figure it out because it's not quite X's and O's. It's not that simple, really, when you look at what this team has offensively with the weaponry that they have and Patrick Mahomes' ability to just seemingly make a play happen out of nowhere. We saw this team give up 200 yards and 4 touchdowns to Tyreek Hill in about a quarter and a half the last time that they matched up. And Todd Bowles was very sort of late to changing his scheme defensively to counteract that. If you come into this game and you're trying to take away Tyreek Hill, that opens up things elsewhere. Yes, this Tampa Bay defense has played a lot better football since that point. They have played exponentially better throughout the course of this postseason. But how do you calm all the weapons that Kansas City has? How do you take away pieces and not expose yourself on the back end? Obviously the surefire answer is, you run the football on offense and you keep Patrick Mahomes on the field. But defensively, what do you think this team needs to do to walk away with a victory?
I think what we got to do is put Jamel Dean. It's hard to put your number 2 corner on the number 1 receiver. But when it comes to Tyreek Hill, it's almost like it doesn't even matter how good Carlton Davis is as far as technique and ball skills is concerned, because he just simply can't run with the guy. And so Jamel Dean, who we didn't have in the first game, I think he ran a 4.35 or a 4.33 or something. It was definitely a 4.3 when he was coming out. This is his 2nd year in the league. And so he's our fastest player on our team on defense. And so I think what we got to do is put him on Hill, because regardless, I don't see a point of putting Carlton Davis on, our lockdown, our number 1 corner. I see no point in putting him on Tyreek Hill because we're going to need help over the top. It's just what it is. It's just what it is when you have a guy who's that fast. You're going to denote 2 guys to him. So what I think we should do is put Jamel Dean on him just because he can't run with him, but he can not get burned as bad, and then put safety help over the top on him, and then put Carlton Davis on either Kelsey if he's split out and he's in the slot. Then I think put Carlton Davis on Kelsey, and then just take our chances with Murphy Bunting on someone else on the outside. I don't know. It would be like Hardman or Watkins. I don't know. It's so hard because none of them are super good, intricate receivers. When you think of like Devontae Adams kind of player that we played last week, he's just good at everything. He's good at route running. He's, pretty big. He's strong after the catch. The Chiefs just have just straight beeline speed like everywhere. So it does put us in a bind. But I think we should denote Carlton Davis to the next biggest threat on offense and put Jamel Dean on Hill because he's our fastest guy. But one thing that we do have to think about is, I'm also going into this thinking it's a given that we're going to stop the run because I think it's pretty much a given that we're going to do that. Just because we've been doing it so well for the past 2 years. And the Chiefs, they didn't really have a great run game when they played us the last time either. So with that in mind, they're hopefully going to have to bring Kelsey in to help chip one of our ends because their offensive line is so beat up. So that would be the best case scenario is that we don't have to like chip him coming off the line. Like he's going to have to chip us. I think that's if it plays out that way, that's going to be a huge advantage for us.
Yeah, I think that that's going to be the question of the entire game is what can Kansas City do to slow down the Chiefs? And going through that, talking about getting Carlton Davis onto the second man and letting Jamel Dean's a very good corner himself. The reason he wasn't drafted higher was because of injuries when he was at Auburn. So he's a good corner in his own right. A lot of really good young talent for the Bucs. We're not sure if Antoine Winfield's going to be there or if Tahir Whitehead's going to be there or not, but the safety stepped up against Aaron Rodgers. So I think that you can let those guys ride for a little bit with the understanding that you're going to be able to get pressure. And you pointed out that the defense the offensive line, for the Kansas City Chiefs is a little banged up. Do you think JPP and Shaq Barrett and Sue and Vita Vea can kind of get that pressure on Patrick Mahomes, kind of keep him in the pocket and make him throw uncomfortably?
Yeah, I definitely think that they're able to, just because they did it last week against Aaron Rodgers, and they're so similar players. Mahomes is more mobile. They roll the pocket more with Mahomes, and that's what I think they're going to have to do to be successful on offense is roll the pocket a lot. But if they want to just stand back there and have him, just stand in the pocket and look for someone open deep, I think that we can get home, especially because we can always blitz Devin White as well. And I think that our front five will, if they want to block 5-on-5, they're going to lose a lot of those matchups just because they can't. They just can't hang with us. It's just a fact. It's no disrespect. Obviously, those guys are in the league too, but JPP and Shaq Barrett are both really, really good players, and they're both playing their best football of the year at the right time. And if we did it to Aaron Rodgers, I think we can do it to Mahomes.
Yeah, we're talking about facing an elite murderer's row of quarterbacks in Breeze, then Rodgers, now Mahomes, and the one guy who's shown throughout all that is the guy you just mentioned, Devin White, has had fantastic games in all three of the playoffs.
About Taylor Heineke or
Heineke not really quite elite yet, but Devin White has had fantastic games. I think he notched 15 tackles in that championship game, and I just think that the linebacker speed is going to be something that the Chiefs have to account for. The linebacker combo of Levante David and Devin White is going to be something that is going to have to be planned to stop because if someone gets a pass off or someone gets some yardage, those guys are chasing them down and cleaning up and kind of keeping it from going big. I don't know. I think that's the matchup, right? Everyone wants to talk about Tom Brady, but the matchup is the Bucs D versus the Chiefs.
The matchup is there, like you said, Ryan. And if you look at the previous matchup between these two teams, it wasn't typical Chiefs ball, right? It was Tyreek Hill on deep passes, torching the secondary and the back end. They sort of took the linebackers out of it when they went on that run early in the game. It wasn't a lot of dunk and dink. And, typically you see Tyreek Hill for 50-yard catch and run, and that's what you think it is. It's a quick dump off, and he takes it to the house, not necessarily just the deep passes. So Tampa's going to have to try and get him into that, right? They're going to have to force them to keep passes underneath, and like you said, hope they can run down and catch whoever before it turns into a big gainer.
Yeah, I think that too is just keeping things short. I mean, that's kind of what the Chiefs want to do because they don't want to stand back there in the pocket and wait for someone to get open deep, because we'll hit home as far as our pass rush is concerned. But then the thing that sucks about that is we also don't want to give Mahomes a lot of time either, and we don't want to give up the super short passes because then they can dunk and kill us. I mean, it's almost an impossible pass to stop the Chiefs offense just because no one has been able to do it. But I think if anyone can do it, it can be us because we have great team speed on defense, especially at the linebacker position. And we can rush the passer like crazy. And the Chiefs' weakest point of their team right now is our offensive line. So, I mean, the opportunity for us to win the game is right there. We just have to hope that Mahomes is a little bit off. Because if he's on, then, I mean, it's pretty much game over, in my opinion.
My question then is, if this turns into a shootout, can Tom Brady hang with Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I think Tom Brady could hang with Mahomes, especially considering the Chiefs' defense is nothing, like, super crazy. Every defense that we played in the playoffs is better than the Chiefs' defense, statistically and, when you just look at the eye test. So I think that the matchup I think that the Bucs offense is a lot better than the Chiefs defense, but the potential for the meltdown that can happen at the Bucs defense, I think there is potential there just because I've seen it happen this year, especially in that second Saints game. Like, I know that we can suck. I know that the possibility is there. And we cannot let any of that happen because it doesn't matter how many points that we score. Mahomes, if they get going, nobody can keep up with that. So I think it all depends on our defense if Tom Brady can keep up.
Okay, so I have to ask because I asked our Chiefs fan that.
And it's a new question.
It's a new question. Let's say fast forward Sunday night, game's over. Patrick Mahomes is hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. Tell me what happened and why the Bucs lost this game.
I think that if we lose a game, it'll be on the defense. It'll just be bad game planning defensively, and they're just torching us deep, just like what happened in the first game.
It's fair. It's absolutely it's an astute point. All right, Luke, give us your pick, give us your prediction. How do you see this one shaking out?
So I got Bucs 31, Chiefs 27. Like I said, I can't go against Brady, man. I haven't done it all postseason yet so far. And Mahomes, to me, a lot of people say he's the next Aaron Rodgers. But when I watch him, I see more Brett Favre than I see Aaron Rodgers because Mahomes, he'll take a lot of risks that Aaron Rodgers, for example, wouldn't take. And so if he gives us some opportunities, I think that we'll capitalize them as far as like a 50-50 ball. I think that we have an opportunity to get that ball. I mean, he had 2 picks called back in the last game and a fumble that came back from defensive penalties. And so I think that Mahomes will make a mistake. I mean, people forget he had 2 picks last year in the Super Bowl. And if it wasn't for Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, being trash, then he probably would have lost that game too. So
why you gotta bring that to me, Luke? Why you gotta be that guy? I'm a 49ers fan. Luke. Why do you gotta bring that at me? Why do you gotta bring that back out?
It's like the third time tonight he's heard Jimmy Garoppolo's trash. He's hurting over there.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's just not very good. But I mean, not everybody can be Tom Brady and Mahomes. You know what I mean?
That is true. I guess.
I think Mahomes is going to give us the ball a couple times, and if we jump on him, I think we got a good shot. And I think that we will jump on him at some point. And I think that whenever we get a lead late in the game, I think it'll be a little too much for the Chiefs to overcome. Once they become one-dimensional and they got to pass, I think we can really pin our ears back and get after Mahomes. And I think that's why we're going to win.
Just don't take the picture in the end zone, and you'll be fine.
Don't celebrate early.
Don't do that.
Yeah, no celebration. I don't care if we're winning by 30 points at halftime. I'm gonna be sweating the whole time. I already got my whole outfit picked out. I mean, I'm just.
I appreciate
I know what
you.
I'm gonna
I really
do.
appreciate everything you're doing right now.
There's no reason that I will jinx this game so far.
I feel you. I feel that. Oh man, that hit me right in my soul. Tell me he's got everything.
Wait,
all
Ryan,
worked out.
what are you wearing? What jersey are you wearing?
I don't have a jersey. I just wear my Buccaneers little cap, right?
Oh, that's right. We have to get him that one
and
We're gonna crowdfund a Brady jersey.
and
for
got
him.
my. Okay.
with the patch. With the patch.
I got everything but a jersey ready to go.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's been working, so.
This is true. You don't change what's working.
Don't jinx anything, okay?
This is true.
Please. This game means a lot to me.
All right, Luke, man, we appreciate the time. We appreciate the time you've given us all off season. We look forward to the game on Sunday and talking to you in the future.
Yeah. All right, boys. Have fun on Sunday, all right?
Yeah, take it easy, man.
You too. Thanks, Luke.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, talk to both fans.
He put me on the spot.
You did
He
too.
did.
I
Not
just
a
got-
single jersey.
I don't own any jerseys
No
right now.
Keyshawn Johnson.
I mean, I can tell you right now.
around.
I'm more
Exactly what I'll be wearing.
I'm
but
more of
no
a
one
fantasy
cares.
football
But how long?
jersey guy.
But how long?
Depends.
It's true.
Depends.
And
I literally packed 4. I wore a
Ready to
jersey and
go.
packed 3 more when I watched the AFC Championship game, just in case.
talking about the jerseys though, the Bucks are picking the bad colors in this one. I'm not a fan of.
It's historically
the white
Brady
on
has never
pewter.
lost with the white.
Yeah, the white top has like a crazy win record the last few years. How does any of that matter? It doesn't. It can't.
And
It doesn't,
And it didn't
but,
help
man,
last year when the Niners
I
wore the
don't-
white tops.
I know there are like I'm immediately thinking of like the 3 people I know that listen to our podcast that also listen to Dave Damashek, but I mean the if the Bucks wore the red tops and the Chiefs had the red pants, it would look weird.
Yeah.
It's better this way. It's aesthetically better this way.
They could have came out in the all
The,
pewters.
the Bucks got the all blacks. Like, give me the all. Give me the all
Nah,
black.
they don't do that. They don't do that for the because I said that once.
Who
Once
cares?
I did
Let
laugh
'em.
because I said that once. Once the Bucks said they were going to wear the aways, I was like, well, let's wear the all reds. Let's fucking go.
and then I immediately called bullshit because the
Jam
Niners
called
wanted
bullshit,
to wear the all
and
white.
Xavier from the Sports Plug messaged me back, and I said that and said, "Yeah, this ain't Thursday Night Football. Shut up," which I laughed at a lot. So
I would not buy a white jersey.
it's regretful. I
It'd
have
to be
one.
like something special, like the
alt whites are nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the white Mahomes, and
There was part
it's
of me.
just,
I,
you're always worried you're going to spill something.
if,
I'm
you,
a
if
spiller.
you've never
I'm a spiller.
listened to the podcast,
Especially if you're eating wings.
Yeah,
And I'm always eating wings.
If you've never listened to the or cauliflower, if you've never listened to the podcast and you're just now checking this out, this is what happens in the podcast. We get off the rails
We get
quick,
way off the rails.
and it's
Sure.
like this. To me,
I felt
the
I
white
felt
jerseys
attacked.
were just different. I had Reds Niner jerseys
Hmm.
forever, so getting the away jersey was like neat.
Yeah, I
And-
just thought it was something
and-
different that I didn't
yeah.
have, so I got the white Mahomes.
and then they
I
came out
regretted
with the Niners doing the old school
Yeah,
the red
94 with the block letters that I like more than what they do now. I hate
Mm-hmm.
the standard for the most part lettering, but yeah. There's some fun jerseys, and I wish the league would let the teams rock some alternate colors and do some,
Yeah.
There's
there's no doubt in my
throwback.
mind if given the opportunity, the
Oh.
Chiefs would have wore the all reds. They
Yeah.
love wearing the all
I
reds.
could have
And-
seen it last year
and the
because
big talk
50th,
was-
or
Yeah.
the big one and the anniversary.
there
and stuff
was
like
some
that.
talk about if the Bucks came out with the creamsicle jerseys would have been
Oh.
phenomenal, and Brady joked about rocking the number 10 instead of the number 12 because it's the 10th Super Bowl.
Well, apparently there was a rumor that he almost wore number 7 this year as like I'm chasing the 7th.
The
Super
7th,
Bowl.
yeah.
So, all right, make sure you guys are checking out. We should have
After
up,
Chris Godwin gave his number
up
he'd have
for
gone.
you today the Just Another Football Show Awards. They're out there. Go find the link, click on it, and get your votes in. We'll be going over those, I think, at the end of next week, maybe the week after. Not sure yet. We'll see how things roll out, but we'll go over them. We're gonna see who wins. Go back and listen. If you didn't listen to us talk about the nominations, we did that yesterday. We nominated for all of the categories, so go back and listen to that. Make sure you guys are joining us tomorrow. Right? Is that right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, join us tomorrow as we're previewing the Super Bowl. We're giving you our picks, and we're gonna give you some prop bets. We're gonna do it all. We're gonna have a little fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time. So, until tomorrow, please 256. Yeah? This has been Just Another Football Show.
Bye.
See ya.